Okay. Which one is it? I actually can't find it. I truly can't find it. I don't know which one it is. There's so many fucking videos. Is this it? Might be it. It's not on YouTube? How old are you? 20.
At IGN.
Oh my fuck.
At IGN, we're a bunch of different people with a bunch of different preferences, thoughts. We're individuals.
At least personally, I feel like I don't necessarily want to play 15 to 20 hours of what I was just shown.
It's very jarring,
Yes.
and I found myself feeling extremely uncomfortable during the demo.
If they get it right, it's going to be one of the most memorable and probably best Call of Duties ever in this annual long-running series.
I hope the game isn't 10 hours of that sort of feel, because that would be very intense and ultimately not very fun.
It is extremely visceral, it is extremely unsettling, but in spite of all of that, or maybe because of that, I mean, it's my game of the show.
The rules have changed.
A bunch of those people in the interview sound like a fucking bunch of weenies, dude. Wah, wah. It's different. It's fucking Twitch chat. Literally, those people were Twitch chat in those interviews. Bunch of fucking snowflakes.
There's a fine line between right and wrong.
It sounds like they're trying to, with this Call of Duty, it sounds like they're really trying to, like, push the media, like, hella. You remember, like, when Modern Warfare 2 came out? Was it 2? I think it was Modern Warfare 2. Where you fucking had to turn on yes or no if you wanted that extra mission, and you just ran through the fucking airport slaying everybody. I have a feeling this is what they're trying to do again, and they're trying to be kind of like just barely, you know, almost crossing the line, but not really, you know, because it's a video game. I have a feeling that's what they're trying to do again, and people are a bunch of fucking snowflakes. But let's see. Let's watch this video. I don't know if there's any gameplay, but let's keep watching.
There's essentially a terror attack in London. Spoilers, by the way. There's a terror attack in London. Your cell, Captain Price, Sergeant Garrick, who I believe is the protagonist, the character you play as, take a small, covert SWAT-style team.
Tier 1 operators,
Tier 1 operators. To do a breach and clear of this terror cell in this house.
A townhouse, yes.
Right.
It's real narrow, and it's just like 4 floors.
Yeah, it's a terraced house in North London. I'm from North London, so I can assure you that it looked very accurate. They even had the correct train on the train line, which was very...
That's impressive.
It is one of the most visually impressive games I've seen.
Yeah, the attention
it does look
to detail.
beautiful.
I think the most jarring part is that, of course, this is in London, and you're crawling through this house. I mean, crawling. You're stealth walking through this house with many people, many teams, many guns. You got your night vision goggles. Like, you're all suited up. But you're going into a civilian house, essentially. And granted, they are terrorists, but it's still weird.
On a technical level, I thought they're doing some really interesting things. You know, adding in some new mechanics that will make gunplay, will make the game itself a lot more interesting.
It reminded me of Mile High Club in the sense that there's, you're weaving your way through. There are a lot of people at very tricky angles.
Yeah.
There are non-combatants.
Yes.
And the line between non-combatant and combatant is, every single level is explored to a greater degree.
Yes.
I think from a provocative sense, you start off, there are female combatants. There are female combatants being used as human shields that then grab a gun and try and shoot you.
Whether there are innocents involved or not, you have to kind of make that call as you go through.
And you're trying to do it as quietly as possible to not alert everyone else in the house.
Yeah,
and
because everyone has guns.
Yeah, everyone in this house has an AK-47 under their bed, it looks like.
It looked like they were incorporating some Rainbow Six kind of style things where you can shoot through doors, you can shoot through walls, you can peer around corners.
Yeah, you've got the lean mechanic, which is really nice.
And
like,
enemies have that too. They'll pop their head around, and if you're quick enough, you can, nail.
It's unfortunate though, because like these mechanics are super interesting. Like they make combat a little bit more tactical. They give you a lot more options. Like the fact that at least in this particular demo, like the environments were very destructible. That's all super interesting, but then it puts those mechanics at odds with itself, making you so uncomfortable to the point where, like, I at least personally, I feel like I don't necessarily want to play 15 to 20 hours of what I was just shown.
While you are going into a moral gray area, like that's exactly what it is. It is a morally ambiguous area. Your enemies are no longer wearing uniforms that denote that, like, it's not black and white anymore.
Also where some of the difficulty in, oh, it looks so beautiful and so realistic, so when I have to then shoot these people, it looks like you're shooting, like, whether they're terrorists or not, of course.
Infinity Ward is intentionally pushing buttons on this, and that's a risky thing to do, but and maybe they'll fall flat on their face, and this game's going to end up being offensive to anyone who's served in the military. I don't know. That is entirely possible. If they get it right, and they remember this game's being headed by a couple of former leads from Naughty Dog, you know, so there's a pedigree there. If they get it right, it's going to be one of the most memorable and probably best Call of Duties ever in this annual long-running series.
I mean, I think it's really important to remember this.
He's not wrong, actually. He's not wrong. I mean, if that's the approach they're going, and they're trying to like, and they're trying to, I don't know how would Twitch chat understand if they're trying to be edgy? Okay, they're trying to be edgy, and they edge a little too far, and then it just a complete backlash, and then the game fucking blows up negatively. Could happen. Who knows?
This was a demo. It was taken out of context, but in the context that they showed it to us, I felt uncomfortable, and it felt, I mean, I don't know, it just felt so real, and I know that's what they were going for, but I don't know, you can speak to this, but just like, that these are real life scenarios.
Right, and so the whole thing what Infinity Ward is going for is like, these are instances taken out of the headlines, right? Mm-hmm. And when you approach that, it has to be done with such care.
Yep.
And the demo we saw wasn't really given that care because, of course, we don't have the context. We don't have anyone saying, hey, this is where we're at so far, why it's okay for us just to go into the house and shoot everybody in there instead of taking them prisoner, except for like 2 people. And it's not very clear, and so it was just very jarring because of that.
Well, at one point, they break into a room, and you train your gun on the person who's in there, and it's a woman, and she's running to a crib, and she picks up a baby, and you're like, what do you do there?
Well, I mean, obviously, if you're a good person, you don't shoot the baby.
We never really saw the consequences of any choices, how differently this mission could have gone, what happens if you hadn't shot out that light, what happens if you do accidentally kill the woman and her child, does the mission end, does it change the story of the game at all?
Yeah, we don't know, and I think that's the biggest question for me, is seeing out like whether there is a lot of choice that impacts the story, or if it is very much a story they intend to tell in a certain way.
If there is,
I'm pretty sure I don't see Call of Duty having decisions. I don't see that. I feel like it's just gonna be, this is a story that they're trying to tell. Anything that you do, well, fucking shit happens in war, fucking casualties, whatever. I think it's going to be their story, right? It would be kind of cool if you could have changed the direction of the game based off your decisions, but I highly doubt that. That seems like a lot of work. I don't know. For a COD game, who knows? I don't know.
Some kind of choice that you can make in the game that wasn't in the demo.
Right, and
saw.
So I think that would be if the headline coming out of the Modern Warfare reboot or reimagining, whatever you want to call it, if the headline coming out of this was you can play this game non-lethally, I think that would have, if that had been tacked onto the end of that demo, like that would have really changed my opinion of it.
I think it's how this moral system pays off, if there is any element of choice, and the story they're trying to tell. Is it just a realistic, gritty story that I read on the news every day? Because that's not a game I want to play, really.
For now, the gameplay that I saw, I'm with you. I thought it was compelling, it was interesting, and I'm already more interested in the Call of Duty campaign than I have been in years. And I know that's like a backhanded compliment at this point, but it's actually true. It's
true for me as well.
Very interested in what's going on with this game.
I'm looking forward to seeing more, to see what the whole game is. I don't know if it'll be fun, but it's doing something different, so I'm giving it that at least.
Is that okay for video games to do? I think absolutely. I think it's a medium to tell stories. I hope that Call of Duty tread the line between being respectful, and I hope their intentions are altruistic here. I want to see more, frankly.
Me too.
We'll see. Again, open-minded. I'm excited to see the multiplayer.
I just want to see multiplayer.
Yes.
Like, that's what we love.
That's what I'm really excited about.
Yeah.
So.
That was a weird review. I was not expecting that. I was not expecting that as the review. That was very strange. I don't think you can really I don't think you could really give a review in the game. It sounds like they did one mission or something. It sounds like they did one scenario or mission or something. And then like they're saying they can't play like 10 to 15 hours. They just don't see that. But just fucking hit multiplayer. Like don't even bother playing single player then, you know? Like COD always has options. So if you don't want to play single player, just go frag online, right? Oh, that's a good point. They probably picked the most provocative mission in the campaign. Oh, that's a good point to make it kind of like super edgy and like, whoa, what the fuck's going on? I'm killing civilians sometimes in the crossfire. I don't know if they're civilians. I don't know if they're terrorists. It's probably, yeah, it's probably something. They probably did choose one of those missions. But either way, COD. When are you playing COD campaigns for 15 hours? To be honest with you, you're playing for like COD campaign lasts like 6 hours, right? COD campaigns are always great. They're fantastic. They're like 6 hours long. They're great. They're also coming out with they're doing their Spec Ops, or what's it called? Is it called Spec Ops? What they introduced in, what was that, Modern Warfare 2? That was fun. I loved Spec Ops. That shit was fucking fun in Modern Warfare 2. That was a weird interview. Or weird. That was a weird video. I don't... Weird. Very strange. Shroud, nobody even plays the campaign anyways? That's not true. That's not true. I mean, think about how much backlash Black Ops 4 got. They got a lot of backlash for not having a campaign. I mean, people were kind of over it very quickly, so they don't care that much. But people do want a campaign. They do. For the most part, COD campaigns they're fun. They're just really short. You could bang them out real quick in like fucking 4 to 6 hours, and then you're done. You could say you did it, and most of the time, it's a lot of fun. They're short and sweet. Exactly, they are. They're fun. I honestly prefer COD campaigns over their multiplayer a lot of the time, because COD has been the same year after year after year for so long that most of the time I play the campaign and I don't play anything else. Like, I do that a lot. I would buy a new COD, I would beat the campaign, I would play the multiplayer for like 30 minutes to an hour, and I was like, well, it's COD, and then I would never play again. That's kind of like how my COD experience went. But it sounds like they're going in a different direction here. It almost doesn't sound like it's COD, but it's still labeled as COD. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. We'll see. Why do you make your chat sub only? Well, I make it sub only when it gets to a certain amount of viewers, because it gets kind of fucking crazy, man. That's why I didn't do it before. I didn't do it before because I never had so many viewers. But now it's gotten to the point where like there's so many people, and Twitch culture is honestly kind of ruthless. So we close it up once it gets a little high. But hey, I mean, we've been live for almost an hour, and you guys gotten all your fucking messages in, so fuck yeah, you know? Fuck yeah.
Hapapadakadaka.